Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder. Today we are diving into a filing that involves potential cash injections, future stock sales, and agreements with investors. It might sound like a complicated dance, but we will simplify it, so stick around. It's more interesting than it sounds, trust me or maybe not. If you appreciate getting straight insights from corporate documents, make sure you're subscribed. We also have a Discord community linked in the description below where you can discuss the reports. Let's jump right in. This report is about Inno Holdings entering into an agreement with some investors. This agreement, called a standby equity purchase agreement, basically gives the company the option to sell up to $6 million worth of its stock to these investors over time. To these investors over time. So what does this mean? It means Inno Holdings has a backup plan for raising money. Instead of going to a bank or issuing bonds, they can sell shares to these investors when they need cash. These shares are common stock, and selling them can bring in some funds when the company sees fit. Here's how it works. The company can decide when to sell these shares. To sell shares, they send a notice called an advance notice to the investors, but there's a catch with each stock that goes on sale. The purchase price is tied to what's called the minimum price, and the investors will only pay a fraction of the minimum price. This is quite the bargain for those investors, plus each sale, called an advance, has to be at least $500,000. Also, there's a limit to how many shares each investor can buy at once. An investor can't buy more than 9.9% of the company's outstanding shares unless the company agrees otherwise in writing. If an investor tries to buy too many shares, that part of the sale is automatically cancelled. Now let's talk about how long this agreement lasts. It will end either 3 years from now or when the investors have bought all $6 million worth of shares, whichever comes first. Inno Holdings can also end the agreement early, but they have to give the investors 5 days notice. There are rules about who can take over this agreement. Inno Holdings can transfer the agreement to another company if they merge, sell their assets, or have a similar major business change. However, an investor can only transfer their part of the agreement if Inno Holdings agrees. If Inno Holdings wants to change any part of the agreement, they have to do it in writing, and both parties have to sign off on it. Also, there's a process for adding more investors to the deal. When that happens, the agreement is automatically updated to include the new investor and how many shares they're allocated. So what will Inno Holdings do with the money they get from selling these shares? They plan to use it for working capital and general corporate purposes. That means things that help run the business to keep things flowing and keep up with general expenses. And just so you know, as of the date of this report, Inno Holdings hasn't issued any notices to sell shares yet, though there is a high chance this will change. This section just refers back to the information in item 1.01, where they talked about the agreement we described. All the sales will be unregistered. Finally, some legal formalities. There are exhibits attached to this report, including the actual standby equity purchase agreement. These documents provide all the detailed information about the agreement between Inno Holdings and the investors. And now let's put this all together and see what it means for Inno Holdings. Inno Holdings is setting up a financial safety net. This agreement allows them to access $6 million in funding by selling shares to investors, and the company will have control over when and how many shares they sell. This flexibility can be a significant advantage, especially in volatile markets. However, this could dilute the value of existing stocks. One thing to watch is how often Inno Holdings uses this option and at what price they sell the shares. Selling too many shares at too low a price could signal financial difficulties or weaken investor confidence. Overall, this agreement seems like a reasonable move for Inno Holdings to ensure they have access to capital when they need it. Is that $6 million enough though? Alright, that's our breakdown of Inno Holdings' latest report. What's your take on these numbers and what they signal for the company's future? Drop your thoughts in the comments if this analysis was valuable. Hitting that like button really helps, and subscribe for more deep dives. Don't forget to check out the Discord in the description. Thanks for watching. See you next time.